asking me, I'm not ignoring you, don't worry. I'm not ignoring you. People keep asking me, how was Warhammer Fest? Now, I briefly spoke about it on Monday. I briefly spoke about, like, my experience of Warhammer Fest on Monday. And I think my experience of Warhammer Fest was a little skewed. A little skewed. And the reason for that is because I'm a content creator and I know a lot of people. You know? The best thing about Warhammer Fest for me was the fact that I got to meet a load of people who, like, watch the channel. Or just they've seen me knocking about, you know, like seen my Instagram or whatever. People just knew who I was and then came up and said hello. That was the best part of Warhammer Fest, you know. That was the best bit. The other good bits were just generally meeting other people that I'd already met. Like whether that's fellow content creators, whether that's people I know from the tournament scene. And just catching up with everybody. And that kind of made Warhammer Fest. Like I got to do the stalls. They were cool. I got to play some games, got to play Bolt Gun, got to play Warp Forge, that was fun. I got to have a look at Golden Demon, but a lot of that was like kind of like later on, toward the end of Fest, when everyone had kind of been and gone. But the problem was with Warhammer Fest is that is my view, and there's been a lot of complaints about it regarding like not being a lot to do and pretty much all of it being queuing, which is quite bad to be honest. And I wanted to talk about Games Workshop receiving some feedback regarding the Warhammer Fest with the problems it had, the queues, etc. Because I saw that Midwinter Minis had commented on one of the recent reels that Games Workshop had done. So you've probably seen these videos, the ones I got cut from. Not that I was wanting to watch them all the time. The ones I got cut from, like they made them into shorts and reels on Instagram, not just YouTube. And there was a comment by Midwinter Minis, and it was a good comment, and I would love to show you, but I'll get into that. There was a comment that said, really enjoy Warhammer Fest, but couldn't be bothered with all the queues. And then there was a lot of other people in the comments coming out with the same thing, kind of saying, I was a bit disappointed because there were just a lot of queues, or I'm a bit disappointed because there wasn't a lot to do. It felt it was taken up all by the rest of the tournament, etc. And my plan for this stream this morning was to look at those comments and kind of like emphasize with them and kind of like probably mostly agree. Like, fair enough, Games Workshop sent me a creator pass. I did buy a ticket to play the tournament. So that I did spend £90 to go to Warhammer Fest and play the tournament before Games Workshop offered me a free ticket, just for full clarity. And the free ticket ended up basically being used for me, and then Georgie ended up using the 3-day pass instead. So just for full clarity before I go into it, because there's been a lot of complaints about content creators not really talking about the problems, where I don't want to be known as not talking about the problems, because I think there were. But also Games Workshop did invite me to go there. So, but I wanted to emphasize with the problems, but the problem is they've turned the comments off. They've deleted all the comments. There were probably about 100 comments to look through, and they've removed the comments on this one, and they've removed comments on this one as well. And I think they didn't remove comments on this one because this is about the new box set, and everyone's talking about the new box set, and they've deleted the comments, which is, in my opinion, the wrong thing to do. This is not a good look. GW really said, do not criticize me, I'm sensitive. GW literally said silence brand, but the brand was the comments. So I really enjoyed Warhammer Fest, but it was because everyone was there, and I really enjoyed the social aspect of it. But I didn't manage to get a demo of 10th edition because the queues were too long. I didn't manage to get into the shop until it was all just chaos and just a mess. Supposedly there was a bunch of shoplifting, I don't know. But yeah, like, I'm a bit disappointed in Games Workshop in turning the comments off. At least if they have the comments on, people can vent. They don't ever have to respond to it, but people can vent, you know? They can use this as like, these are the best bits. These are the best bits. But these are the problems we had while we were there. And do you know what Games Workshop can do? They can read the comments, never address them, but then do something about it. Wasn't there like 3 tables? Granted, Swanford, there were 5 for 10,000 people. And I think this isn't a complaint at the staff. This is purely a logistical issue where they've not planned for it. But yeah, like, my monitor just went off. Hello, monitor. Thank you. Like, you can say this is all the best bits, and that's totally fine. But like to turn the comments off to deny the criticism is a really bad look in my opinion. 5 whole tables, exactly 5 whole tables. So I'm gonna stand up again. I love doing this. I love doing this on stream. We just do it. We transition so well. Is it me or the fans who are wrong? No, it is the fans who are wrong. So yeah, I was pretty disappointed to see that. I thought that was a really bad look for Games Workshop. They could do anything, but the one thing they could do is not silence the criticism, in my opinion. So, but one person that wasn't silenced was Big Acres on Reddit. So this is on Warhammer 40k. Someone sent me this on Instagram. Let me just clarify who that was so I can give full credit. It was Plucky Paints on Instagram sent me this just so I could have a look, and I thought it was interesting. Again, you know, I like what Games Workshop do, but I do think that if they're going to turn the comments off, that's a really bad look. I think accepting criticism when you've done something wrong, even if it feels overbearing, you're a multi-million-pound company, it's probably going to be okay. Might give me the JoJo shirt. Mate, I fucking love JoJo. It's my favourite anime. And so is Neon Genesis. I have a poster of it behind me. Well, actually, I made a mug. I made a mug copying Neon Genesis. So, yeah. I love anime. I'm so relatable. Anyway, so you want to know what Warhammer Fest is like? This is a big post. It's got 1,000 upvotes. So I thought we could have a look through and see what people are saying about Warhammer Fest online. Because you can't see it in the on Games Workshop's public pages because they delete the comments or they turn them off completely. So... DW is a big global corporation at this point who act like they're a small indie company with a few hundred fans. Yeah, I agree. I agree. It's a real big shame to be honest, because it said like it's not like the staff. It's no one who was there's fault. It was obviously a logistical problem that they've had. They could have like had more stuff going on, more of the same stuff, just larger, so you didn't have to queue so long, and more clarity about what the plan was. Because I think a lot of people kind of got there and just went, "Oh, it's just a shop." Which is fine. All I had to say was, we heard your issues and we'll work to improve next Warhammer Fest. Exactly. They literally could have just copy and pasted that comment and I'd be like, it's corporate, but it's fine. So, and the problem is like, a lot of the time, like, it's the lack of saying something that's louder than saying something. I think that's always the problem. If they just said something, you know, it's like the only hands thing that we covered a couple of weeks ago. They just didn't address it, and that's a problem. Look, do you do a miniatures company, not an events company? Stop asking them to do stuff outside their wheelhouse. Yeah, jokes aside, yeah, fine, whatever. But like, they're gonna put these events on. They're gonna be criticized for putting these events on. You know. The big thing missing was the bits we had previous games day events. No sculptors, no painters, writers, etc. I agree. I agree. Curious if they'll make a Warhammer community article in regard to this. I hope they do. I hope they say, we really enjoyed Fest. There was so many cool... I'm trying, but you know. Glad I tuned in to hear the exact same things I thought about being poorly used space. Yeah, I just think they just wasted it. They just wasted this space. The demo area was shoved in the shop. And it was just a bit of chaos because people... There was like no organization in like coming through this way, start here, work your way around. And obviously a big... We'll move on. We'll move on the Reddit post. I think a lot of it was... a lot of it is covered. Warhammer 40,000 10th edition demo stations. I've been told that Warhammer Fest sold decently upwards of 10,000 tickets. So I've been told that it was 10,000... There was 10,000 tickets per day available, including 3-day passes. So there's like a section that were 3-day pass. And then the rest were like 1-day buys. And like... Day one, Saturday was sold out, and the other two weren't sold out, and it generally dropped. The trend dropped. So like Sunday was quiet, and then Monday was really quiet. Compared, there are 5 demo tables. Oh, sorry. This event promotes the biggest launch of their biggest rewrite of their flagship game. People are keen to try 10th edition out. There are 5 demo tables. I'm pretty sure there are just 5 facilitators to man those tables. Each table will take you through one turn of the game. You will queue on average for 3 hours to experience that turn. Now, I think this part is fine. Each table will take you through one turn of the game. End of the day, they've got loads of people to go through. Whether you've got to queue for hours or not, they've still got loads of people to go through. They can't let you take a 3-hour game because that's just like not feasible. So I think having a run through of like one turn is totally fine. The problem was this bit, you know, having to wait 3 hours to have 10 minutes of gameplay. isn't on. I don't think. I don't think that's fair. I thought there would be a bigger thing since it's 40 years of 40k. Yeah, it felt like a bit of a wasted opportunity. The fact it's the 40th year of Warhammer, and they just kind of went, yeah, here's 5 tables. Now the people who are running the tables, great job. They look like they're having a great job, but the people trying to get in there, whoa, just not fun. Not fun at all. The game looks neat. I'm excited, and I think the facilitator did a great job of running us through some of the differences. It is obvious that they are fatigued, having been chained to the table to run the same 30-minute talk for 3 days. The game is semi-scripted, with the facilitators making sure the big monsters fight and the infantry gets a round of shooting each, and that the high/low rolls are redone to make sure everyone did a thing. Each table can deal with 8 punters at a time, normally in charge of each unit. An adult is given one of the 2 screamer killers. A young boy is given a squad of 20 termagants to be killed by the dozen. Yeah, again, this is totally fine. This is all fine. You know, I don't think when people got to the demo they had a problem, and that's great, because getting a little demo like that and like rolling all ones is like, just try again. Let's go on, get it up again. It'll be all right. Also, Mercenary, thank you for upgrading your membership to Tactical Marine. We still need to come up with better names, but thank you for upgrading your membership to a higher tier. I do really appreciate it. But yeah, so like the demo games, I think it sounds like they ran fine. It was just getting there. As they go on to say, there were 5 tables to demo their biggest game, which is just, again, just a logistical issue. It's just like 10,000 people per day available. 5 tables, you know. That's just it just isn't on. It just isn't on. It's not good. It's a bad look. You know, there should have been 10, 15 tables, if not more. You know, if you don't have the resources to get all of the new Leviathan models painted up for all of these demos, people would probably understand if you dotted them around with other generic Space Marine units. You know? 10,000 people per day max. That's 9,500 people wanted to try it. Yeah, like at least, well, maximum, you know. But there's probably like 500 people playing the tournament who can't play. You know, so let's say 1,000 people on that Saturday were playing a tournament, you know, so they didn't have time to go play a demo. And then maybe like 2/3 wanted to play 40k. You know? That's still 6,000 people who want to go play 40k. The event was come see 10th edition accent, come see the models. Then they put 5 tables and 1 cabinet with the models in. Yeah, exactly. So I think they just needed lots more of what they had. I think they needed to take all of their stalls they had and like triple them in size. You know? I doubt people have minded greys since their new models. Oh, since their new models, like unpainted miniatures. I'd have loved to get my grubby little hands on new niche. Yeah, just for people just to go and have a look, you know. But I said if they didn't have enough models of the new ones, they could have like chopped and changed them, like put some normally. They've got like 9 million intercessors painted in the factory, surely. So I think that they just didn't have enough, and that is a real problem because you can't be queuing for 3 hours for a 20-minute talk or whatever, you know, to roll some dice. That's great. And again, it's not the staff's fault. It is just like the logistical problem of like, we've got 10,000 people, 9,000 might be knocking about, maybe 2/3 a guess might want to play 40k. How do we get 6,000 people through 8 hours, you know? So, just a shame. And obviously, see the new models, they had 1 cabinet of the new models painted by Heavy Metal, the models you see in all the previews, between the shop and the demo area. And it was just like, you can't get near this. You just can't get near this to have a look at the new models to actually play the game. Because there are queues everywhere because there's 10,000 people knocking about in this building. You know? That I needed to be at least 10 tables. They had the space. They did have the space. Yeah, they did. The problem is it would have needed many more demo staff to allow more tables to prevent fatigue. Yeah, I agree. It's probably a staff. It's a logistical issue. It's not that they just went, oh yeah, people will be fine queuing. It's they've not planned to bring enough models, or they've not planned to bring enough demo staff, or both. You know. What they could have had, chat, is someone, Nick Baton, Simon, you know, one of the people on Battle Report, Ben, who are always on Battle Report, they were also running demos. Hats off to them, you know. Do you know what they could have done? Put one camera on the top down, put one microphone on the facilitator, and had a screen, you know. You know all you guys who can't get in because there's a queue? Well, guess what? My name's Ben, and let's go through the 19th run of 10th edition, because everybody can watch, you know? You're in a queue, ready to go, start getting excited. Can't be bothered to queue, can watch it on the screen, you can hear what they're saying, you know? Five tables for demo, 10th edition, at least a few hundred each day. That's not great, exactly. Yeah, so they could have had like multiple, like a screen up and a microphone, you know, and just like a little presentation, like just even a TV, you know what I mean, like a 60-inch TV. They've got them knocking about, a projector on a piece of like a bed sheet. It'll be fine. What was your experience of the Sculptors taking all exclusive minis? It didn't happen because it was limited one per person, and they were still stacking Commissar stuff on the shelf. What you had was not enough staff to put the stuff back on the shelf. A big demo game presentation would have been cool. They could have done it in the auditorium where they're doing the reveals. They could have said, oh, if you want to watch someone playing 10th edition talking about it, there it is. You know? James Workshop pre-recorded video play-by-play with buttons for the phasers, self-service. Yeah, exactly. Press the button. Right, guys, this is the shooting phase. In the shooting phase, you shoot your guns, you know? But yeah, it was just a bit like... the problem was, is they just like... They just not thought about it, it felt like. Why didn't they stream Golden Demon and Wall Ceremony? I have no idea. Really dumb. But anyway. So the demos were good by the sounds of it. You could have gotten 100 people watching a demonstration, run them less often, and have a more in-depth demonstration. The facilitators were running off hazy memory of the rulebooks and quartered the queue times. It is after 11 by the time you have witnessed your one turn. Yeah, so like the problem is like, yeah, having a hands-on demo game is great. That's what you want. You want people touching stuff, you know? The best thing in retail you can do when you're trying to sell something is put it in someone's hand, because they're more likely to buy it. You can't buy it at this event anyway. You can't pre-order it, you know. You can't pre-purchase. You can't buy it at this event. But they're putting it in people's hand. That's great. But then they're pissing off all their other customers, you know. By the time I went, I couldn't find Prowess Champs anyway. When they last year's event model though? I think they did sell out. You know? Anyway, the shop. Here we go. Let's talk about event exclusives. Here we go. You're back on the convention floor. You've seen the main selling point of this Warhammer Fest, but you don't have your event mini yet. Time to go to the shop. You'll be in this queue for 2 hours. Someone ahead of you has bought 10 of the event mini. There are 4 tills. I think there was 8 tills. No, that's okay. 4 on each side. They run out of stock a lot. Staff are running around trying to keep the machine flowing. There are rumours that people are walking off with stock without paying at the frustration. There are a few notable items that they usually only sell at Warhammer World, but mostly it's standard combat patrols and normal sets. You get your mini by 1 PM. So maybe people were buying a lot of the stuff. I said I heard it was limited 1 per person. I didn't see it firsthand, you know. But there's a few more than 4 tills. However, the rest of it is right. Something that always makes you wonder is why not capitalize on hype and get pre-orders in after the announcement? That's how you make bank. Yeah, I agree. I think part of the challenge with the shop set tails were cash only or card only. It was limited one per transaction, so it didn't really make sense. Yeah, that's the problem with putting tills over it. Again, a logistical issue. You know, that's the problem. They've just gone, who's the greatest enemy in Warhammer? Is it the Trinids? No, it's logistics. A lot of stuff got sold out by 10 AM. It was mental. Yeah, like the new event exclusive, like the Commissar and the Slave to Darkness thing, they were just stacking them out all day, every day. You know, they had hundreds, thousands, if not. But the older ones, understandable that they sold out because the Primaris champion thing was last year. Which I know it sounds shit to be like, well, it was last year, you should have got it last time. Maybe that was the first time you could have got it. Understandable. But it was last year's miniature. It wasn't this year's miniature. But also the problem was like the Forge stuff was just like in cardboard boxes. It was like just knocking about. And it was just like, oh yeah, here's all the Iron Hand shit chucked in a box. And I went to have a look on Monday. I was like, really? I still can't believe they put 2 unrevealed miniatures on sale. Did they? What would they have had that's been unrevealed that they've been like, oh yeah, let's take that to Warhammer Fest? I'll have to get a Primary Champ for somewhere else. Yeah, I know it sucks, obviously. I'm just a bit like, I'm trying to like play devil's advocate. I guess. I don't know why. A Killer Boss sculpt and a Knight Arcanum sculpt. Interesting. Like the limited edition things, event exclusive ones. Who actually won the 40k tournament? It was won by Innes Wilson with Iron Hands. Do you think GW could benefit from outsourcing their event management and planning so they get a perspective on the event logistics from an external experienced company? I think so. I think so. Games Workshop operates on a minimum viable product basis, so Fest would have been seen as a great success. Cost as little as possible, make money. Well, yeah, exactly. Like, the thing is with it is like you look at it and you go, this event was really badly organised. Can't believe it. But then they probably sold like, how many golden tickets do you reckon they sold? Because I was hearing like not less than 100, but topping 100. So that's like 100 grand just from 100 people. Fucking winner, mate. Let's go, baby. Winner, winner. Money, money. Money, money, money. So I saw 30 plus in the lounge. So you just think, let's say there's 30 people. I think that's quite low because I think it was closer to 100. But 30 grand made from 30 people, you know, success, mate. That's almost paid for the venue. The swag looked quite good, to be fair. It was like 4 Primarchs and a bunch of random shit. But it's just the random stuff that makes it look bad. For a grand, you'd expect to be like, my favourite faction is this. You know? And then they give you loads of that. Oh, there's Primarchs too. Yeah, it was like 250 quid vouchers, 4 draw Primarchs, some big box sets like Age of Darkness, etc., and then a load of other stuff. So the person now going off is Garrow on Facebook because Garrow got a golden ticket. There you go. Found it. I've collected my golden ticket, and here's a rundown. Necromunda Ashways, Ossiarch, Bone Reaper's Battletome, 3 faction dice, t-shirts, several pins and coins, branded water ball, both of the event minis, couple of painting handles, Flesh Eater Court start collecting, Imperial Nova's Blood Bowl team, Titanicus scenery set, Space Wolves Combat Patrol, Death Guard scenery set, 40k Manufactorium scenery, Nether Maze, Darktide, Ogre, Sister Battle, and 2 Blood Angels from the Mark Farlane, a pair of socks, 4 Fold Royal Primarchs, and £250 store voucher. So quite the haul really, but I mean, is it worth a grand? Probably not. Probably not. I don't think so. So quite a bit of stuff basically. And you know, t-shirts and bags and stuff. Like yeah, it's always gonna be random and weird, especially if you don't play every single game that they produce. But go on then, add up the monetary value. I think it's about, I think it did clear it. I didn't think it did clear the monetary value they promised. I love stuff. Stuff is my favorite. Yeah, it was like, it sounded like it was worth it if you wanted everything. If you wanted to go sell it on, you're probably going to make a loss. But are you buying it to sell on? Then listen, don't invest in stocks because it's a bad idea. I think there is probably, I think the number is probably close Lambo. I think it's probably close to 1,500 good with the voucher and the Primarchs. They really bump it up. $1K with you to get to spend 250 how you like. Thank you, so generous. Well, yeah, but that's just going to incentivize you to spend more money, right? How much is all of the 10th codexes worth? Probably quite a bit. There's like, what, 20 codexes? £30 each at least? Digital? £20 at least? Yeah, I don't allow it. Links in chat. There's Discord for a reason. Exclamation point Discord. Bugger to get that back on the train. Yeah, but they shipped it for you for a price. You had to pay extra for shipping. Big caveat, the voucher was fest only. Yeah, like I got a voucher for playing in the tournament, and that was fest only as well. I was just like, I don't want anything from you. So anyway, so shop bad. So how could they have fixed the shop? Just make it bigger. I don't understand what the problem is. You got 10,000 people. The food, outside Games Workshop's Iron Grip, the convention center is able to deal with the convention. The food isn't cheap, but you've had far worse at one of these before. You get it in a normal amount of time and get a chance to hear some of the conversations going on. Frustration is on the rise. Yeah, I found that like the service, whilst there were queues, was quite good. Like the general service of the event staff. They managed to deal with everyone quite well. They had the food stalls were quite good. What I will say, in the tournament, the tournament had QR codes on each table, so you could order food to your table, and it was very, very quick. It was very good, and it was like. It was pretty crazy because like I was playing a game and someone ordered food, and by the time we talked about our armies, like 5 minutes later, his hot dog had arrived. Bear in mind it was lunchtime, so it was like the highest, like most busy time of day for food. They had 2 of each food stall to deal with that amount of people. Exactly, yeah, they had loads. So I will say like the food and the general convention as a whole, seemed to manage it quite well. Which is obviously then it's like, okay, why did they manage it well rather than Games Workshop? Games Workshop didn't manage it well because they didn't know how to deal with this many people all at once. You know, they know how to run big tournaments. The tournaments went fine. What I was involved in the first day, the tournaments ran fine. You know, and they managed to get people who played tournaments get food and get drinks, etc. They were all fine. It's just the rest of it, you know, the other 9,000 people during the day, the 90%. So. But anyway, Golden Demon. This is the problem. This is the problem one, I think. There is no queue to see the Golden Demon entries. People think there is, and it stretches an hour back, but there are no barriers stopping anyone from fighting their way to the cabinets, and event staff are constantly reminding people that no queue is officially in place. The miniatures are amazing. This is work well done. If you're good at pushing people out of the way, you might even be able to see them. Some dude has submitted a bog standard clan rat. I hope he wins the Slayer sword. I think this is bullshit. Like some people just like to enter competitions to feel part of something. You know? This is bullshit, because I think like anyone can enter Golden Demon. That's the whole point. But the rest of it, like, yeah, there were just queues all the time, and people were just queuing, and it's like, it's not a queue system. It's not a queue system. It's supposed to be it's supposed to be a thing where you just go, oh, I like that one, let's have a nosy, come back, all right, I'm gonna walk around and have a look at this one. But because nobody wants to see all of Golden Demon, they want to look at the cool ones. Oh, I play 40k, I want to see the cool 40k ones. Oh, I play Lord of the Rings, I want to see the Lord of the Rings ones. You need a separate ticket for entering Golden Demon this year. Yeah, there's 1,000 entries in total. So it was only a tenner, but yeah. I suppose you're paying for that Golden Demon to happen then, aren't you? You had to be quick to get Golden Demon tickets, and I kept telling people it's not a queue, it's a gaggle of people thinking it is. Yeah, that was the problem, because people were queuing, it just made the situation worse. There was no queue, but people were still queuing. And they didn't need to be a queue. They should have had the cabinets viewable from both sides. It was silly how you couldn't see things stuck on the very bottom or top. I think viewable from both sides is a good shout, but also they're like dealing with public assets, so they didn't want the opening side of the cabinet available to the public, because then they'd have to lock them all, you know. And also that's how they do the judging as well. If they need to get access to it, you don't want to be like pushing people out of the way, so you can actually just go get to a model and then have to walk through crowds, you know. At the end of the day, it's a competition. I think having like a thing to go and look around is fine, because there's no point looking at the back of the miniature either. 10,000 of additional revenue for non-extra input from GW. Yeah, true. But you've also got to pay the staff that are there to do it. You've got to pay the judges. And they've had to pay for obviously you're paying to get in. You're paying 20 quid to get in, paying 10 to enter the competition. You know? End of the day, sometimes capitalism is capitalism and it's bad, but sometimes it's kind of justified. It's like, you've got to pay the people who are working there. The event is already on. Should they be paid from that? Maybe. I don't know. But anyway, the painting. You can paint a free miniature if you wait another 3 hours. I chose not to do so. There are better places to sit back and get your paint on. This is also funny. You can go paint a miniature for free. They provide brushes. They provide paints. There's lots of people helping out. But you just had to queue. There's just not enough people. There's not enough for the amount of people that sold. So as mentioned, maybe they should have just sold less tickets to have less people in there. Because yes, they made fuck tons of money. But how many people now are going to go, well, I'm not going to go next year? Or is next year long enough that people are going to forget that they do actually want to go? You know? It's like one of those things. But the huge elephant in the room, Warhammer Fest is not an event where you can talk to the Warhammer studio folk. This is a marketing event. The main talks are all reveals. And there aren't many. Sitting at home watching on Twitch will get you the core content. Those attending on the day are in for another 2-hour queue, as the auditorium is limited to 750 attendees. There are over 10,000 tickets sold. Again, there are over 10,000 tickets sold over the weekend. There was max 10,000 a day. But I agree, this is too small. Everything for this number, this is too small. For this number, this is too small. You know? This is too small. You can't invite 10,000 people and not put enough stuff on. That's the problem. The only talks of are the main series. You are being sold miniatures. You are not hear from the game designers, nor will you hear from the creatives. Look at the Kundun miniatures you will buy. To be fair, they are cool. You still have Warhammer. There is no further detail. For those who don't make it into the main auditorium, there are around 4 TVs dotted around the place, streaming it at the edge of the main floor. Crowds huddle around to hear they like the cool miniatures. They do watch the reveals on his phone with headphones on. He's getting a better experience. So they had the reveals. The reveals were great. I managed to get to the old world one, which is quite lucky, which is pretty cool. But I didn't manage to get to any of the others. And the old world and Horus Heresy one, which is pretty cool to be part of. So they had like the reveal show, which is live streamed on Twitch. And then they did a Q&A afterwards. And it was very surprising that they didn't like live stream the Q&A. It sounds like they did the reveal, then ended the stream. Rather than like, oh, all these people in this auditorium, we've got all this cool information. Maybe we'll live stream that as well. And I think like, on one hand, you want to keep the experience cool for the people attending because they've paid money to be there and everyone else is watching at home on Twitch for free. That's fine, understandable. But the other side is like, you could live stream more of this and then also have it in the hall so people who can't make it in, you can't get in, can actually listen to the Q&A, you know? So I think, again, if they had like TVs, a screen outside in the food hall, they had like massive space. They could have put a big projector up and go, here's what's happening in the auditorium, by the way. Here's a live stream on Twitch. Enjoy. But then, as mentioned, it's like, yeah, the reveals are cool. If you manage to get it, it was cool. It was 1,000 people, nearly 1,000 people at a time. So you could get 10% of the event in a day. Maybe a little bit small, you know. Maybe they should have reduced the amount, you know. But the problem is also there's no design talks. Like the first Warhammer Fest I went to was at Rico Arena in Coventry, and they had the main arena as like the shop floor, where they had the tournaments, the stalls, etc. But then they had like upstairs where they had like designers knocking about, and they had Golden Demon as well. So they had like Golden Demon at one side. Then they had like loads of desks of like, okay, between this time and this time it's this designer, between this time and this time it's this designer, etc. And they had like Age of Sigmar, 40k, model design, Forge World, etc. And then like painters and stuff like that. And you could just go up and chat to people. And yeah, like again, like a lot of people have mentioned, like it is a problem that they didn't have that, which is a real shame. They had no design panels. They could have had a Q&A with designers like set up in the auditorium between the reveals. But there was like no like people, like new Seraphon have just been released and they didn't have the people who designed them out there to talk about it. They didn't have like again, like just seminars of like, oh, you're at Warhammer Fest, here's a cool thing. Like the Warhammer Fest I first went to was the one where contrast paint was announced, and they had the lead Citadel designer or owner. So basically, like Games Workshop is miniatures, and then Citadel is everything else, like the hobby stuff, like all your paints and shit. The guy, when they announced contrast, they had a seminar about contrast paint, and it was by Dave, the head of Citadel, and he was like, this is why we've designed new spray cans. It's because pigment, if you think about it, white pigment, like a bowling ball, black pigment, like a tennis ball, you put that on a model. And it was like stuff like that I remember to this day because it was a fun seminar, you know? And he was like wearing his lab coat, and he was talking about contrast paint, and he was explaining why they made it, what they want to do with it, what their plans are for it, and you could ask questions, and it was really good, like a little seminar of like, this is contrast paint, this is really cool, any questions, you know? And then they had Max Feelage, I believe it was, talking about how they judge Golden Demon, and they had another designer talking about how they designed the Lord Discordant, you know, and like talking about the process and the pros and cons and what they were thinking about it. And they had like the 3-ups. So if you don't know, Games Workshop, when they design miniatures, they 3D print them at 3 times the size to like have a look at the details, have a nosy, let's see how they're going to chop the models, put it on a sprue. They didn't have any of that, and I think that's a problem. Because they could have had that in between. They've got a big auditorium. They're using it for reveals every 4 hours, you know. They could have just put on, like, little shows in between. And I think that's a bit of a shame. And, like... And I don't know why they didn't have any designers there. You know? I was rather different point in overall. Last one I went to got to meet the designer of the Disco Lord. It was awesome. There you go, Beanie. As you mentioned. The design studio staff aren't allowed to attend events now working, except for very few exceptions. Well, we don't really know. We obviously, like, this could all be related to the fact that they're not letting staff have their faces on videos anymore. Could be. But, you know. It could be because they didn't want to put that on, because they didn't want to put them into the public, because they want to save them, keep them chained to their desk so they can paint more, design more. I don't know. When I think about it, it gives the impression that GD are moving away from the hobby community element and just a miniature selling company. I know this is later, but come on. The latter, yeah. Yes, you do. We all do. Yeah. Maybe they're just like withholding the people, as I mentioned, withholding the designers, so they can't talk to the public, so they can't get a face to name. So you can't be like, oh, I designed this Seraphon thing. You know, I'm so good. Maybe. I don't know. It's just a shame. It's just a shame, really. Then you got the stands. This is a marketing event. You'd see community dioramas, local gaming clubs, and the big stalls coming down with their folks to run bespoke stands. There are 2 different hobbyist-run areas I could see. The Funhammer cosplay section, which is very, very good, at the back, and the Titan Owners Club. So they had, like, the people playing Titanicus, but a 28mm scale. So they had, like, the full-size warlords and stuff like that. And they had, like, a custom Imperator Titan and stuff. It was very cool to see. Everything else is a licensee. Do you want to play one of the new 20 Warhammer gacha games out there? You can give it a go here. Each stand seems well run, but the queues are over an hour long each. You'll see a handwritten notes warning about queue times when they try to manage expectations and control the huge demand. Now, I don't think this is fair. I think, like, the people who are running the stands is fine, you know. I just think, again, the fact that you got to queue for a couple of minutes of gameplay is not very good, because they had stuff like Bolt Gun, Warp Forge, Battle Sector. They had Horse Age Legions. They had probably some other. They had Tacticas, the app game, and like they all did great. Again, they just didn't have enough space, and obviously that is due to the fact that they probably couldn't afford to have more space. But then it felt like the rest of the space was wasted, so the Games Workshop should have like charged them less to go. My mate lives in Mankin and felt disappointed with it. Can't imagine people who came further away or even Europe would be happy. I think it's fair to say it's a bit sparse. Yeah. So like, yeah, there was a lot of video games available, but that's fine. There is a lot of video games available. They had the Koyo pin stand. People are painting little pins and stuff. So, but yeah, so like the rest of the stores I thought were quite good, you know. They're like the Warp Forge one where you like walk in and get your face scanned and then it makes you into a card. Very, very cool. And again, Bolt Gun, you got to play Bolt Gun, which is pretty cool. But yeah, like the problem wasn't the stands itself, it was just getting to them because there was not enough to separate the people. So I think like the problem is, like, before we go on, because there's not much about the stands and stuff like that. The problem that Games Workshop have is that they are being compared to things like Adepticon, Salute, etc. You know, like 2 large conventions that are like happening at a very similar time. We had Adepticon a couple months ago. We had Salute literally like last week. The problem is like Games Workshop are doing something very, very similar and on a larger scale as in terms of people, but they have less options to put on as a show. You think about it. Let's take Salute and Warhammer Fest as 2 examples. Salute was 1 day, okay? Salute was 1 day, so it probably sold less tickets. But what Salute has over Games Workshop has selling 3 days of content, or 3 days of like convention, to more people, to 30,000 people. I don't know how many people are at Salute. Let's say it's a good few thousand, maybe 10,000 tops. The problem is Games Workshop is Games Workshop. They want you in their bubble, and that's fine. They are a company that makes a lot of wargaming products, and they want you to look at their wargaming products. They make miniatures, they make paints, they make books, they make paintbrushes, they make tools. They have third-party games. They have Warpforge, they have Bolt Gun, etc. That is fine. But the problem is that's like a handful of stuff. So you can't have... You've got this Hangout of Paint, you've got this shop, etc. But when you look at Salute, this is a wargaming convention. You have Games Workshop as a stall. You could have Army Painter, you could have Artis Opus, you could have C Studios, all of these like that, for example. You can have even more commission painters, you can have more third-party products, you can have different games on show, you can have board games on show, you can have historical games on show. And the problem is Games Workshop have a very limited pool of stuff to show you, whereas Salute has every single company available to come down. So if Salute sells 10,000 tickets and Games Workshop sells 10,000 tickets, Games Workshop can put on like 10 different stalls, whereas Salute can put on like 500. So you have the same amount of people split between 10 stalls and 500 stalls. Now, all the stalls at Salute are probably smaller, and a lot of them you might not be interested in. But the thing is you are split up across all of these stalls. So you have 10,000 people, 500 stalls. You do the maths. 10,000 people, 10 stalls. You do the maths. And that is the problem. That is the problem that Games Workshop have had. They've got too many people in too little things to have access to. They had very, very cool stalls about. The shop was good. The demo tables were good. The hangout paint was good. The board game cafe was good. But there's just too many people to put into them, you know? It's 1,000 people into each one. Whereas Salute is like 200 tops, you know? That's the problem, and that's what I'm disappointed with. Which is why I keep saying to people, what they should have done is taken all of the stalls they had and doubled them in size, you know? Whether they can do that, another question, but they should have just doubled everything. The hangout paint, twice the size, you know? The Warforge stuff, twice the size. Put more computers in, you know? The shop, put more tills in, put more stuff in. Golden Demon, stop people queuing, you know? And it just felt like that they everything they had was really good, but they didn't have enough to split the amount of people they had, you know? Anyway, there's my rant. Cult of Paint, how you doing? Thanks for tuning in. It was really good to see you all at the weekend. Video game stands were rad. They needed more stuff other than that to do look at. There you go, exactly, great. The video stands were good. The video game stands were good. Warforge was really good. Boltgun was really fun to play. I really liked what they were trying to do. They just didn't have enough space to do it because they probably didn't have the capacity to do bigger. But the event didn't have enough for you to do while you waited for the queues to die. To be fair, compare them to previous games day / fest events, it's actually rolled back and been regressive. Yeah, there's just not as much on, which is why they probably need to have little seminars to be like, right, okay, whilst there's like 9,000 people here, or there's like 9,000 people in this event, right, well, let's nick 1,000 and let them talk about paint for an hour, you know? Right, they piss off in there. Right, there's 1,000 less people to deal with now. Right, all of these stalls have got a little bit easier. All right, okay. Oh, well, I'm queuing now, but my seminar's in 20 minutes, so I'm going to go to that now, and then let's just drag them around. But what you had was just a bunch of people just circling 4 stands, and it's like, it's just not going to work. It's just a logistical issue. It's such a shame. It's such a shame because I want it to be amazing. And I want people to enjoy themselves. And it's like, yeah, I had a great time, but I didn't have a great time because Warhammer Fest. I had a great time because everyone was in the same place at the same time and I was talking to people, you know? I managed to get on Warforge, which is cool. I managed to get on Boltgun, which is very cool. I enjoyed both of those things. I managed to look at Golden Demon. Very, very cool. It took me 3 days to do it, you know? They didn't even have an AOS Warcry Necromunda stalls. They have less to offer and didn't even bring it all. Yeah, they could have had like different stalls selling different products, you know? Like have a 40k shop, have an Age of Sigmar shop with a little demo table in the middle, you know? We all suffered together. Yeah, exactly. It did feel a bit like that. It did feel a bit like, you know, we're all in this together, we're all powering through together, we're all really tired, we all want to go home, we're all just hanging out. So, but that's why you should use your design as a resource to show off. Also, you could sell some of your more popular influencers to stream live with a little audience. Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm surprised, like, they didn't have, like, you know, people way more famous than I am. Just, like, doing a little seminar themselves, talking about, like, how to film a battle report, you know? What it's like being in a Q&A, a meet and greet and stuff like that. Like, we were all there just knocking about. Great. But you could have, like, made something a bit more official, like they tried to do that at the Heresy event. It didn't really work because I think the setup was wrong. And again, queues, problem. Because at the Heresy event, you had a queue to see all the new 30k stuff. You know, but what you could have is like small seminar, half an hour. Let's get some influencers in there. Do like a YouTuber panel like they did at Salute. You know, do something like that. Thanks for coming, everyone. I'm Mikey, the dickhead. Sorry. I'm Mikey, the nice guy. I like I'm holding a microphone. I have a microphone in front of me, and I'm pretending to hold them. Anyway, I'm such an idiot. Anyway. The cosplay is one of the last holdouts of the hobbyist element. They didn't need permission from the event organizers to do something really cool. They didn't need permission from the event organizers to do something really cool. I don't understand what that means, but the cosplays were always really good. I like the cosplay walk they did. That was fun. I wanted to film it, but I just couldn't get near it. But they did like a big walk through the main hall, which is fun. And everyone like got around, made a big path. It was very nice to see. The tournament was half the convention centre, and it looks like it was well run. Lots of tables were free when I had a look. It looks like this was where the attention of the event organisers was, from space given to the fact it wasn't a disaster. Yeah, the tournament had a lot of space. You got a lot of tables, and they had to plan for how many tickets they sold. Wouldn't they want to have Georgie doing that? You just hold the mic. Shut up, Lambo. You're good at holding a mic. No! Stop it! Stop saying I'm good at holding a microphone. God damn it. Oh, fuck's sake. Warhammer Fest is a mass participation event. This is where kids could see their hobby up close, and where there used to be a chance to talk some of their minds behind what I spend far too much time and money on. A tournament is a neat add-on if you can pull it off, but it can't take over the main event. The average fan is not bringing their 2,000-point army halfway across the country for this. Separate the events out and give majority of attendees an event they don't regret. I think they just didn't utilize the space properly. They had a lot of space for the tournament, which is fine because they were selling tournament tickets. And as a tournament player, I think that was fine. But I think what they should have done is, as soon as they realized they weren't filling the venue, they should have just moved those tables back so people could just play games on them, you know? Like, move the barriers back. And it's like, all these tables are free now. You know, come play games in an open play area or whatever. Come and have a game if you want to, because people probably have models on them. But like a lot of the tournament space, a lot of the space was taken up by the tournament. That is okay. They'd sold that many tickets, and that's what they planned for. But when they realized they weren't filling that space, they just like pulled it back, I think, and just like let those tables be wide open. So. The rest. You hear some of the painting masterclasses are cancelled. It's all hands on deck from the incredible staff trying to make this run. Everyone knows something has gone wrong at planning stage. There's a growing uproar across social media. Folk who spent money on travel tickets, accommodation being let down. The guy with kids seems to have had it worse. I was given a day's warning from Saturday attendees to bring a book and steel myself for the chaos. And yeah, that's the problem. I think the problem is as well, a lot of the complaints were from the Saturday, and the Saturday was the worst day, you know. The Saturday was the busiest because it's when everyone's trying to get in and see everything, and like that's when all the 3-day attendees try to get in, as well as the 1-day attendees at the same time. So you have like the worst amount of people going all at the same time because it's the first day, and they're obviously going to do that. But then the other 2 days quieted down a lot. The queues were a lot less. You could actually get to stuff if you waited like, you know, half an hour or something like that. That's fine. And it was just like you can just get through it. But the first day at any convention is always going to be the busiest because everyone wants to get in. And I think that really compounded the effect, because you know what we're like. We love to complain. We love to like talk about stuff. We love to like post on Reddit about our problems, but I think a lot of it is justified. And it's just a shame, because I just want this company to be really good. I don't like talking about all the negatives all the time. I like Warhammer. I think it's great, and I talk about Warhammer all the time. But it's just sometimes they do just cock up, and it's really annoying to see. By 2 PM, there are 2 rows of tables empty. Don't know if they're used early in the day. Potentially. I hope to get to see 10th at UK Games Expo, but I think that'll be the same problem. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, Games Expo is at the end of June, right? So I imagine they will. But I'm actually at Games Expo with Georgie. I'm going to be holding the microphone for her again. And Tom's coming with us as well, and Elliot's joining us on the Sunday. So we're there for all 3 days. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I really hope they learn from feedback, be interested to send a survey out. I think the problem is like they're getting feedback and then turning comments off, because there isn't like no like, oh, if you came and didn't enjoy it, here's a feedback form. Like, Like, like if you're gonna turn off comments, it feels like you don't want to hear the criticism. Second of June. Ah, okay. So yeah, so me and Georgie and Tom are going to Games Expo, that's for sure. Standing desk. Standing desk. Not having enough tables painted seems a small cock up, but becomes a bigger issue in real life. It feels if they had at least 10 tables of 10th, it would have been better. Yeah, I just think they didn't allocate enough space to it, like a lot of it. You know? They just didn't have quite enough space to do anything. I think most frustrating thing is the vast majority of problems were unforced errors that a company of that size shouldn't be making. Yeah, it just all comes down to logistics and not planning for that many people. There was no way to break up the people, you know? They had the announcements, the reveals, that was cool. But there's no real way to break up the people. It was just pure mass panic. Not to side with the brand, but hopefully they got the message, and it just looks bad for them to see nothing but criticism on their post. Hopefully, maybe. Yeah, I think it's a shame when they run this cool event and there's just lots of criticism. But because it's such a big event, the criticism is going to be really loud, and people are just going to pick up the ball and run with it. I don't think they should turn comments off, because I think that just makes things worse. I think you should just leave it. Like, even just ignore it, but turning the comments off is louder. Like, actions speak louder than words, right? If you don't say any words, that's probably the best thing than doing an action of turning off comments on their Instagram posts, because they're the only places you can actually comment on things. So I think that's problematic, in my opinion. I think that's probably the worst thing they could have done. But what they should do is read the criticism and learn from it. They don't have to say anything about it. They don't have to say, well, you know, all these guys are being bastards about it, so we're never going to do it again. No, they should have just gone, hey, we did cock up. Let's read the criticism. How can we improve next time? And then when they do the big post, Warhammer Fest 2024, now with less queues, and make a meme about it, and people are like, haha, that's funny. Don't do it, please. From working in a big company, social media is usually outsourced, so it's possible it wasn't GW who authorized the deleting, just the company. I don't think the social media is outsourced, as far as I'm aware. My mate I met on Saturday did an hour wandering and left as a bit meh. He went to Element on the way home and met a guy who did a half an hour and had a 3-day pass, wouldn't go back, saying it was bad. Yeah, like, I had a couple of friends turn up, like, they're like recently getting into Warhammer, and I was like really excited for them to come to Warhammer Fest, because it was like a really big thing, because like they'd never done it before, and they were just a bit disappointed because it was just you couldn't do anything. And that's the problem. It's like people coming to the event who aren't like so invested like me, or like don't know many people like me. That's what I'm trying to emphasize with things. If you don't know many people and you don't want to talk to like content creators that are just knocking about because they're just trying to enjoy Fest as you are, which, you know, if I'm at an event, please come and say hi. Please, for the love of God. We need a secret passcode just in case, but come say hi. But like for those people, it's like, walk in, see all of the queues, be like, I'm not queuing for 4 hours, go home again. And that's a real shame, because that might not only turn them off Warhammer Fest, it might turn them off as Warhammer as a whole, and be like they'll always be like, oh yeah, that was shit, that wasn't it, that was rubbish. So what puzzles me is they teased Epic during their biggest live event. Why not use the platform to go big on it, and they have the pre-order ready? Never get why they go big then wait 2 months for pre. Yeah, like, talking about Epic is really interesting, but like even like 10th edition, they could have been like, oh yeah, here's the pre-order's going to start now. It's coming out in June. You can order it today though, if you want. Why not? So Secret passcode, make ambles great again. Yeah, the passcode is talk about ambles. I said imagine they do it at the NEC. Use the same space as Expo and spread out with bigger stalls would be great. Yeah, like, I think Games Workshop are just going to struggle unless they get some, like, third-party companies in there, you know? They don't necessarily do Warhammer, but make Warhammer-adjacent things, but they don't like doing that. Wait for James Workshop sat on the floor with no makeup. My apology video. There, hugging a dog. How do we deal with this, guys? How do we apologize, guys, for stroking a dog? Yeah, perfect. Beautiful. My main worry is if this is someone's first experience of a wargame event, hopefully they'll take the criticism on board and do better logistically going forward. Yeah, that's what you just want. That's why people are angry. They just want it to be good. They're not like, I'm going to go to Games Workshop's event and just shit on it. They want it to be good. Really interested to hearing all this feedback. My day job is in organising large-scale events. Sounds like GW delivered this event internally and made some oversights in terms of standard event production decisions. Yeah, by the sounds of it, yeah. It definitely felt like it was an internal event, and then they sold too many tickets for what they had put on. That's what it feels like. If they just got like a third-party company to be like, we want this, 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 and this. Sorted. There are 100% people who just go up to hate on it because hating on something is what people enjoy. Yeah, like negativity is very loud in the online space, which is why I make loads of drama videos. No, I just like to talk about things that people are talking about. I don't like to ignore what people talk about because I don't think it's disingenuous and not fair. If I sat here and said Warhammer Fest was so good, it's so great, and just ignored the criticism, that'd just be really bad. You know, I hate that. I'm not like a corporate mouthpiece. I'm not here to be like rub Games Workshop's back and tell them it's all okay. I'm here to talk about what people are talking about, and I think to ignore the problems at Warhammer Fest is a big issue. Mikey, we know you're a shill. It's true. They do send me a lot of free shit, so I should probably shill, but I don't. People are 7 times more likely to complain than to praise. That's interesting. You got a free ticket to Warhammer Fest and sold out. I did get a free ticket to Warhammer Fest. And here I am talking about the complaints. Big sellout me. I understand that like the staff and the content of what it was actually there was cool. Yeah, the stuff they had was good. The problem was there were too many people and the stalls weren't big enough to handle that many people. It's all infrastructure and logistics. Yeah, exactly. You know this. You run events. The problem is everyone was like, wow, this is really fun. Now I'm going to wait another 3 hours before I can do anything else. You know? The issue is people who are happy with something often don't talk about it, and unhappy people are often very loud. Yeah, for sure. Was there any Blood Bowl showing off? I think there were some mini demo tables, but not many. In the store. Do you think they will learn from it, or next year will be the same? I think they'll probably learn a little bit. They'll definitely have read the comments. You know, they'll definitely be on Reddit seeing that everyone was complaining. But at the same time, I imagine the event was a massive success monetarily. So I think they'll probably do something similar, but I'm hoping they'll learn from it. And that's why I'm talking about it. I just want them to learn from it. And that's all. I think that's all we want, and that's why we're angry about it. You know? I think we all want it to be good, which is why we're all so invested in this hobby and this franchise, this IP. We want it to be great, but it just sometimes isn't. It was 100% organised by the American events team, by the way, not the HQ staff in Nottingham. No, I agree. It was a lot of the American team came up and organised it because it was the American team that were running the tournament. Were they checking models? I think they were going around and having a look at models. There were event staff going around. Another 10k in staff, overtime, box sets and tables improves it tenfold. I agree, Liam. I agree, mate. You see what other big cons, BlizzCon, etc. people get. We want some of that for Warhammers. We do. And granted, like, in-person events for Warhammer, like, they were huge and then they've shut down for a long time and it's them getting back into it. And I always give Games Workshop the benefit of the doubt. The first one they do of something is always bad. Now, this isn't the first Warhammer Fest they've done, but this is the first Warhammer Fest they've done since COVID. So I feel like we can give them a break. You know, we can pretend it's the first one. In that regard, that's the only point we're giving them a break. But, like, the second one is always better, but the first one always has so many teething issues. And I think, yeah, they just oversold the event for what they had on. That's the problem. They've run great events in the past. They can do it. It's just a case of if the criticism outweighs the money they make. Yeah. It's not even angry, more disappointed. Like, they knew the numbers they were getting by tickets sold, and they just misplanned things. Yeah, there just wasn't enough on. There just wasn't enough on to divide people. Again, if they had more seminars happening, more little things happening everywhere, you split them all people up. But, like, there just wasn't enough. Just wasn't enough to split everybody around. So, anyway, they're the woes and cons of Warhammer Fest. I don't think we can... there's much else to say without going around in circles. Not enough stuff to split the people. Big logistical issue. I think that is the big thing. Now Marine rules. I think so. Hellstorm Fest 24. Well, I'm still planning. I'll be honest, guys. October, Super All-Stars. Big tournament. 120 players. Cash prize. Golden tickets are given away. In October. Last weekend of October. Still happening. Very excited. Grab a ticket if you want to come. But I'm also thinking about putting a convention on. And this has just scared me. I'll be honest. On one hand, I'm scared. I'm like, oh my god, what if it's the same as Warhammer Fest? But on the other hand, I, Mikey of Hellstorm, could do much better than Warhammer Fest. I will have more than 3 stalls in my convention. So should I do it? Should I put a big convention on at the same time? I have the space. You know, I know all the cosplayers. I can get all these third-party companies in. I'll have so many stalls and probably not enough people. The stalls will be queuing for the customers. No 40k new edition for next year, so expectation will probably be lowered. Yeah, but next year they'll have new Age of Sigmar, you know. Mikey, there's lower you can go than Warhammer Fest when we're talking about cons. But in an art Italian, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think so. Stormfest. As long as there's no ball pit. No ball pit, no soft pits, none of that. Hellstorm Fire Festival. That'd be fun. Artist Alley just free con. What is Artist Alley? What are you referring to do that? Is it just like loads of people doing custom art in an alleyway? I could do that. We'll make our own Warhammer Fest with blackjack and hookers. Well, it is next to a casino, so there will be blackjack. Artist Alley, badges, stickers, comics, prints, painted minis. Yeah, I could do that. So, like, the venue I have, right? The venue I have is like I'll draw it on paint because I'm a professional. I'm a professional gamer, as you know. So the venue I have, like, how do you use MS Paint again? So there's a big hall, like this, right? And it kind of goes up like this, like that. And then you have a bar. We'll do the bars in red. Bars red. Bar. Bar, as you can see. There's a bar here. There's a bar here. It's a very big bar. I can't remember how big it is. There's a bar here, and there's a bar here. And then this is where you enter. Okay. I draw doors again. I've drawn that the wrong way. Ah! That way. There we go. There's doors there. There's doors here. This is a door. This is a door. It's quite a big venue. And then I'm planning on having tables. Put Tawny. I'm having the tournament like here. This is rows of 5 tables, by the way. And so on. 120 players, all like this. This is five tables. You can see that. Okay. You can't just host a con at your local gentleman's club. No, I'm running the tournament at the end of the year, right? So this is it. So this is where the tournament's held, and it's kind of like this. It's like half the venue, all like this. You know, so there's loads of walkway down here. We like this. This is good. But chat, there's actually a whole other section that I'm not using here, like this. So maybe con here. I don't think the fire safety is when I set this map. I don't want to show the floor plans because I'm sure there's like fucking some legal shit that I shouldn't get into. But yeah, there's some like extra conventions here. This here. This is the dog track. We have dogs. This is where the dogs are outside, and I'm thinking about putting a convention in here. What's the name of the venue? It's the OEC in Sheffield. I like dags. Do you like dags? Dog track. Yeah, so basically there's they're not box cars. What do they call it? There's like car racing on the Sunday. Going meow over here. You can watch that from the windows. So free entertainment all day. And then like there's bars. And then I was thinking about putting a convention in here, but I could also move these tables up. I'm still deciding. Move these tables up like this. And half the thing and put the convention down here. That's basically what I'm thinking. I don't know why I'm just telling you all my plans. Stock cars. There we go. Thanks, Jimmy. Stock cars. Stonks cars. So there's dog tracks and stock cars. So I was thinking about putting a little convention in here, maybe. And then having like the cosplayers over here. I don't fancy running my first convention at the NEC because I feel like that'd be a bad idea. So that's what I'm thinking. It's a big question mark right now. But I think that might be fun if I can get people in, and then we can like have the tournament players go in and have a look round, and we can like sell tickets for like £5-10 a day, and then come in and have a look at the convention as well. Maybe do like a painting competition. Call it paint washing. You want to do a painting competition? We could do something. We could work it out. We can make cool convention babies. Can't be any worse than Warfest around the official Wargaming Games Workshop people. Yeah, literally. So we'll have stock cars, the casino. This is, and then next door, casino. This is where the casino is. So we will literally have blackjack. All we need is the hookers. You know? So I feel like it could be good. I've just got to organise it all in the next 6 months. Yes, exactly. Yeah, I volunteer. Excellent. So I think that could be cool if we get some like little stalls in there, and like just like a couple, maybe like 500 people tops. It could be as bad. If it was as bad, I'd be like, at least I sold all the tickets. I'm doing Games Workshop. At least I made money. You know, at least it was successful. So I was a bit nervous though, because I was a bit like Warhammer Fest. I've been in the planning stages of it, and I was a bit like, I don't know, don't want to do that. Have you ever booked out a box at the dog track? I haven't actually. No, I haven't actually booked out a box at the dog track. It's a nice venue though. This venue that we're using is like it's basically like a wedding convention center. So it's like where you hold weddings and stuff. If it's just ticket costing you handout head people would still have a grand time. I bet they would. At least you can learn from GW's mistakes. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That was my concern. I wanted to see Warhammer Fest to be like, what's the convention scene like now? What am I competing with? Alright, cool. Don't have loads of queues, probably be alright. But again, it'd be funny because I'll probably end up having more stalls in Games Workshop, but all smaller. And it just that'll just fix the problem. So there you go. You've all seen the inside my head now. I hope you all enjoyed it. Hope it was all fun. Come out, keys are short. The wristband is just your head on an elastic band. That could be fun. That could be funny. Less stalls waiting once is part of the fun. I agree. I agree. Maybe I'll just put like no stalls in. Just charge you to just turn up. Hello. That'll be it. Hi. Done. Thanks for your money. See ya. Bye. Gotta go run a tournament now. Bye. But anyway. So if you do want to come, I do recommend it. It'd be fun. If you want to come play a tournament, I might be putting a convention on. I'm still panicking about the convention idea. But it should be very cool. As you can see, this is the venue. Have a supreme advantage. Play, damn it. This is by far the biggest thing I've ever attempted to do. And it's all going to happen here. This is the venue, OEC in Sheffield. So look, you got dog track. This is the venue that we're using. You got the dogs there. You got a casino there. We literally have blackjack. Hi, bars over there. Look at these, all these parking as well. It's crazy. It's like Games Workshop. Where do we want to put the parking? Nah, get rid of that. Yeah, it's a little bit smaller than what Games Workshop set a new standard. So yeah, you get to watch the stock cars run around. Zoom, zoom. That's why they go around, and the dogs go around there as well. There's windows so you can see outside and watch the dog cars. I mean, in the middle of the venue there is a boxing arena, so maybe I'll do some boxing. Who knows? There's a lot of parking, yeah. When's the date? It's the 28th and 29th of October. For a 40k tournament in the... I hate listening to myself in a video, so cringe. How cool's that? Car park Warhammer available. Maybe we could do... Yeah, we could do Street Hammer. We could do Street Hammer. But I was looking at like evening entertainment as well. I've got some cool ideas for the evening entertainment. One, steal that idea from Depticon, the grinder. And then the another one is, I know people who do like reenactments of sword fighting. Like they put on like medieval armor and sword fight and stuff. And like not like, oh, it's just guys cosplaying. Like, no, like real armor they wear and they fight. And I was thinking about having that in the evening, which would be fun. Oh, there's still tickets. There's still tickets available, mate. So this is the venue. This is like one section of it. So there's the big bar that we mentioned, as you can see. But these are fake walls, so this will all be open. It's like 3 times this space. That's why the tournament's being held. Is there any more of the venue? Can't remember. Maybe not. Maybe not. Can I find some more videos of it? There's this footage I stole. This is like the inside. We're gonna have 500 people. That's the max. So this is like part. This is one section of the convention center, like where I put the convention. So again, that wall's fake. You can watch the dogs. Look at that. You can watch the dogs, but lads, it's great. This is like the main hall, as I mentioned. So like those walls are fake. Got a projector, crazy. That's why I put the Games Workshop reveals. So yeah, it's literally a wedding venue. It's probably the worst idea I could have had because it's so expensive. But the dags I'm sold. Complimentary Wi-Fi. Yeah, exactly. Even if it's just a small copy, some local talent / COD players and stalls, I'd absolutely go. Yeah, I'm definitely tempted by it. I think Georgie wants to take over that part of the business for it. So I think I might put Georgie and like let her lead the reins for it, and me kind of give up with it, and just like let her do it, and I'll just manage the overall event, and she can manage the convention part of it. But if you want to grab a ticket to the tournament, I've just left a link in the description. I said it's the All Stars 28th and 29th. It's currently a tournament. I'm planning on adding a convention as well, but we'll see. I don't want to promise anything. It's just what I'm thinking of. So we have a huge tournament happening. 120 players, 5 types of terrain, 10th edition, cash prize, golden tickets to America. It's going to be great. So make sure if you are interested, come take a look.